Hello and welcome to the fourth season of What's in a Story. And a big thanks to all the listeners, as it's all because of you that this podcast enters into its second year. I am Lopamudra Moitro, and in my podcast, I read the stories from my books as an anthropologist, writer, and translator working with popular culture and heritage of India and South Asia. And I introduce each story with some additional information from different fields of history, archaeology, geology, and others, which helps to bring a context to the story. I would like to add here that understanding this context is supremely important, as most of these stories from folklore took shape across several centuries and over a vast period of time. Many features were added to the narratives in this time period. Thus, before taking these stories as historical proof, one should be careful enough to understand the historical context as well as socio-cultural, religious, political context of the stories mentioned within each story. Across the last year, at most unusual places, it was nice to have met people coming up to me and speaking about the many stories that I have narrated across the last 1 year, and how they really like the stories as well as the books, my books from which I read them. The experience has not only been enriching but also greatly rewarding. I never thought it would be reaching out to so many people around the world. What began as a small individual effort in last year May in 2025. Presently, and thanks to all the listeners, this podcast reaches across 11 countries of the world, and according to the present available listeners data, this includes a part from India, Bhutan, Sri Lanka, Germany, UK, Russia, Austria, Brazil, Singapore, Poland, and the USA. This in itself is a huge achievement, and I sincerely thank each and every listener from the core of my heart. Now, a little bit about the fourth season. In this season, I would like to share some very interesting narratives that I came across about teachers. And by that, I would like to travel outside the domains of school walls and explore a larger area where a person, of course, who teaches in an educational institution is of course a teacher, but also one who motivates, encourages, helps to organize your random thoughts, mentors you in difficult times, or simply inspires you to move ahead in spite of all adversities. A teacher thus transgresses any narrow definition and encompasses all of these and perhaps a lot more. While collecting these stories, each experience has been deeply heartening, and as we begin the second year of this podcast, this is a dedication to the many unsung heroes of our lives, the teachers. About the story. The title of today's story is From Khasi Cup to World Cup, a journey of Odisha's hockey culture. I read this from my book, The Owl Delivered the Good News All Night Long, Folktales, Legends and Modern Lore of India by Aleph Book Company. The original story is in Odia, and it has been written by Jitu Mishra. For my book, it has been also translated by Jitu Mishra into English. Now, today's story is about a very different type of a role of a teacher, one that does not involve a single person but actually several individuals who have molded and inspired several youngsters to take up a very special game, that of hockey. This is the story of the villages of Sundargarh of Odisha, located at around 500 kilometers from the city of Bhubaneswar, which is the capital city of the state of Odisha in eastern India. This Odisha, the state, actually borders also the adjoining neighboring states of Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh. This story actually speaks about youngsters who are enthusiastic to be hockey players, diligently practicing, keeping in mind very significant persons as role models, and that practically becomes their inspiration in their goal of becoming or aspiring to be hockey players in the future. Sundargarh is one of the many districts in India which has places that seem almost untouched by time. The district is the second largest of Odisha and was formed following the merger of the two princely states of Gangapur and Bunai in 1948, just after the independence of India in 1947. Apart from iron ore, manganese, limestone, timber and bamboo, hockey practically forms a very significant resource that forms also a rich part of the state's history. The government sports hostel in Raurkella, a city that's part of Sundargarh, also has produced 50 players from this region according to the information of Odisha government. Follows the story from Khasi Cup to World Cup, a journey of Odisha's hockey culture. The story from Khasi Cup to World Cup, a journey of Odisha's hockey culture. The Khasi Cup is an important event in the villages of Sundargarh district, about 500 kilometers from the capital city of Bhubaneswar of Odisha. Every morning in the villages of Sundargarh, young boys and girls step out of their homes with heavy bags on their backs and a spring in their steps. They head to local government schools where, besides learning, they get an opportunity to play hockey. All these youngsters have a dream which has been nurtured by the many hockey legends who have originated from the region. Even little children who have barely started going to school know their hockey and want to be like the hockey legends and former captain of the Indian hockey international team, Dilip Tirkey, that is uncle. Hockey sticks here are purchased, rented or received as gifts and are now available for the tournaments which, according to the locals, went always actually at the disposal of the villagers of Sundargarh. And they often used to make do sticks from a piece of a tree's trunk or a bamboo, drying it out for days and then polishing it for the tournaments. The players, the youngsters, know all the players from his village who have gone on to represent India. This was Dilip's senior in primary school. In his neighborhood are the houses of Dilip Tirkey, who was the vice captain of the Indian squad and won the 2016 men's Hockey Junior World Cup, and also Amit Rohidas, who is part of the current Indian squad. Coaches at the government sports hostel in Sundargarh often speak that most of the Odisha's hockey talent comes from the district. And among his pupils were Amit and Dipsan. A plaque affixed on the wall inside the principal's office of the government high school in Bhabani Shankar, which is a block in Sundargarh, honors 8 of its illustrious alumni. It reads, "We are proud of," and then lists 7 names with their common title, IAS, Indian Administrative Service. The 8th name, Dilip Tirkey, is printed in a larger font and occupies a much more space in the plaque with 2 photos. One, a headshot of him, and the other, a medium shot of him, clad in Indian jersey, wielding a hockey stick. And for many of the young ones who don't know the name of their principal, actually they are aware about Dilip Tirkey and consider him to be a big role model for them. Amongst the youngsters, many go on to play for the Indian team, and interestingly enough, the rest who don't make it to the national side find different jobs in army, paramilitary forces, police, railways, banks, and other governmental and non-government sectors by playing hockey. Thus, in the villages of Sundargarh, a child's first toy is a hockey stick, fashioned out of bamboo and just a few inches taller than the owner. An eligible groom is judged not just by the number of bullocks he owns, but also by the goals he scores in a game of hockey. Sometimes weddings are solemnized in a hockey face-off between the bride's and the groom's families. The biggest event is the Khasi Cup, in which a series of games are held and the winning team receives a goat, which is why the name Khasi, being the word for goat, is prepared for the victory feast that is shared by everyone. However, presently, a lot of other aspects are involved as the prize, including money. Without any set rules and having any number of members ranging from 12 to 15, the idea of the Khasi Cup is actually to encourage young talent. This freestyle and uncoached way of playing hockey have led to the birth of several legendary hockey players over the last several decades, including Dilip Tirkey, Subhadra Pradhan, Lazarus Barla, Jyoti Sunita, Binita Tappo, Ignace Tirkey, and William Xalco. These players provide inspiration for both boys and girls since both genders participate in the games. The story of the genesis of Odisha's hockey culture, however, is still shrouded in mystery. But some speak about more than a century ago, in the tribal heartland in Sundargarh, in the early 20th century, Christian missionaries arrived at several villages of the district to spread their teachings, and they also taught hockey to the young people of the villages. Over the years, Sundargarh has evolved into an important region which has produced several hockey talents, as mentioned earlier in today's story. These players have played at both national and international levels. In the villages of Sundargarh, practically everyone is to be found in a hockey field. Traditionally, the non-cultivation months from October to December are considered as the hockey season, which is when tournaments are held regularly where a number of village teams participate enthusiastically. Speaking to the players, one also gets a sense that they don't need actually a motivation or a role model like Dilip Tirkey, Amit Rohidas, Virendra Lakra, or a hockey World Cup or prize money, or for that matter, the symbolism of the goat. to take up the game, but they simply play hockey because they feel it's part of their lives.